hip flexion isometric ramping. So we've got a band attached obviously to a fence here. Any sort of anchor point is fine. Going to put your leg through it, lay down on the floor. I've picked a good time to do this. And what we want to do, you're going to passively get into knee flexion with the band right at the top of the hip, right in the crease of the hip flexion. So you're going to get into this passive range of motion. We're going to do this for two reasons. We're going to get into this passive range. The band is going to allow us to feel the tissue. You can just feel the band. But also, whilst you're holding here passively, I want you to contract that hip flexion tissue. So just contract it and then release it. Contract it and then release it. Because with this band, you can now actually feel the contraction and relaxation of said tissue. So you're just going to get into this position. So get into, if coming too far hurts when you contract, obviously don't go that far. Come as far as you can so you can contract. Now you're not contracting like really, really hard here. You're just contracting enough, probably like 30%, just to sort of feel the tissue, sort of activate that tissue. Then what I want you to do is, once you've just done that, 30 seconds or so, if you can, sort of let go and hold it here. Whilst holding it here, you're going to move through an axial rotation, which just means the leg stays still and you're rotating internally and then externally. Now, if this is a little bit sore doing that, then what I want you to do is actually just hold your leg here and do the same thing. So contract, but now I want you to do this external rotation and internal rotation whilst holding your leg here. Then come to the internal rotation, so external rotation, and then contract tissue here. So it'll be a little bit less hip flexor, a little bit more adductor, or sort of a combination of the two. But all you're doing really here is just contracting that, just to feel that different tissue there as well. So if you're just doing this from a rehab perspective, trying to make that tissue feel a little bit better, this is where you stop. If you're doing this because we're trying to sort of activate some tissue for some more sort of hip flexion stuff later in your program, then what I'm going to get you to do is pull back into your full active range, come into passive, do a few contractions here so you can feel the tissue, then contract, hold, and do a passive range hold here. You'll probably find, do a few reps, there we go, that your active range here will get a bit bigger as you go. But there we go. Hip flexion, ISO-Ramping. Have fun.